If you're listening, you have reached the latest episode of The Ugly Truth. And today I'm telling Paula about a dream that I had this morning. We're doing a little celeb news, and I am still trying to convince Paula that she should check in on The Bachelorette. All of this, plus some H-Ugly and Awkward Moments of the week. Thank you so much. Enjoy the show.
It's another uncensored look at the world around you, from sisters who will say just about anything to anyone at any time. It's the Uggs. Jamie?
We are very judgy, and we're really fucking good at it.
Paula?
When I start talking to you, that's when it's okay to talk.
Uncensored as always, it's time for the Ugly Truth.
Welcome to The Ugly Truth. This is episode 445. Side note, for episode 444, we did not do the Ugg.
Oh, really?
No, Daryl comes in, he goes, your fans are not going to be happy. And I go, why? He goes, you guys didn't do the Ugg. And I'm like, we didn't? Oh my God, that's so weird. You would think it would have felt weird not to do it.
Well, I didn't see any torches or pitchforks, so I think we're okay, but...
I think they secretly go, oh, I can't believe they didn't do the Ugg.
You know, maybe in their mind they were just hearing the...
Yeah, maybe just like we do the We're Sisters Who podcast.
You know what's so funny? I didn't even realize it was so lately. She's into these secret talents that she has. She has another one that I have yet to videotape. She can beatbox. Did you know that?
Why would I know that? I have no.
Why would I know that? But
I don't know.
I was pretending the other day. I'm like, hey, Olivia, and I like pretended to beatbox, and then she's like, Mom, watch this. And so she was doing it, and I was just like, what the fuck, Olivia? I'm like, where did you get this stuff? You know?
That's so weird.
And she is just like me, because we were at Ross the other day and this song came on, you know, it's like elevator music basically there. But it sounded kind of like spy music, and all of a sudden she like stood in place, and then she put up like the Charlie's Angel gun, and then she started kind of like skulking through the store, and I'm like, what are you doing? And she's just like, she started making up like this little dance routine, and so then I started filming her. But
I know,
she's so
weirdos.
Weird. Anyway, so I said, well, I bet you can't do this. So I did the Nagarelli. I'm like, you know, I can't do it. It's really early in the morning right now, but
yes,
I did it, and she's just like, so she tried it, and it was just like. And she's like, how do you do that? And she's like beating her throat. I'm like, it's a very practiced talent, Olivia. I'm like,
yeah. And if like, basically you need to do it in the hallway so that she can slide on her knees. That assists.
I don't know that I could do that today.
Listen, if you're going to recreate Grease 2, Johnny Nagarelli in the bowling alley, then you have to do it properly. So she has to slide down and go, and then she's got to do the Hey Paulette, and then someone's got to go, hey Johnny, Johnny, won't you bowl that strike? And I just might. And you got to do the head swivel, baby tonight. And then she can be integrated into the world of us. Yes. But she's got to be able to do it. And then there's that, and then there's also the Mariah Carey that Stephanie can do very well. Which I can't do at all, but she can do it. Stephanie can do it. And so
Ryan does the funny like Christina Aguilera where he like pretends to plug his ear with his middle finger. And then he's like waving his hand in the air, you know?
Yes. All the levels. Yes.
You know, and then he's like wincing his eyes. And he's just like, yeah. And he's like, whoa.
Yes. You got to do it.
He's making fun of him.
Yeah. Like she's doing all of her arpeggios.
I know.
Anyway. All right. So really quick, I had the craziest dream this morning right before I woke up.
So did I, but go ahead.
Well, you can tell me yours after I tell you mine.
No, I don't want to. It was weird.
Oh, okay. I had a dream that I was driving a car, a big blue Suburban, like Ford Suburban car, you know, those big ones.
Yeah.
And I just was driving it, and there was people in the car. It was like Daryl and the kids, and I was driving, and we're like, okay, well, we got to go. So I was driving kind of slow or kind of winding around because there was a lot of people. And there were kids and stuff, and I of course didn't want some kid to come flinging out and me hit the kid. Mm-hmm. So I pulled out from where I was parking on the side of the street, and I was taking off, and sure as shit, a little girl flung out, and I nailed her in the leg with my car. And she was probably like 6 or 7. And obviously I was absolutely mortified. So I pulled over immediately and ran over, and I was crying. And I'm like, someone call 911. And she's like, no, she's going to be okay. I'm like, no. We're not playing that game. Call fucking 911.
Bullshit, honey.
Yeah. And I was absolutely just devastated. Now, people were looking going, well, it's really clear that you were literally already past her when she ran out. So she like hit the left side of your car. It's not like you hit her head on. And she was walking around, and then I saw her leg and it was like beyond swollen. I'm like, no, my God,
Oh, I was expecting it'd be like exploded open with like blood everywhere or something.
No, it was, I barely nailed her. And so out of curiosity.
As Ferris Bueller said, I barely touched you.
So out of curiosity, I looked it up in my dream website, because I'm always curious. And it says, first of all, it was a new car. And so it says driving a new car means that you're headed toward a new direction or a goal. You're deviating from your original path. If you dream that you hit or ran someone over that car, it implies that you have hurt someone in order to move ahead in your life. And I'm like, who have I hurt? I haven't even done anything yet.
But you're just plowing through people to,
maybe,
get to this goal.
But I like nicked someone. And then it says to dream that you're driving a car denotes your ambition, your drive, and your ability to navigate from one stage of your life to another. Consider how smooth or rough the car ride is. Well, I hit someone, so I'm going to say it wasn't smooth.
You barely touched her.
Barely.
Maybe it just means that like you're probably going to have to sacrifice a little bit of time, like dedicated to your family to get to your goal, which I mean, everybody has to do if they're going to be, going to get some education or going back to work, or, there's always sacrifice involved.
Right. So if you're driving the car, you're taking an active role in the way your life is going. Overall, this dream symbol is an indication of your dependence and degree of control you have on your life. It says to see a child says you're trying to still satisfy repressed desires and unfulfilled hopes. Perhaps there's something you need to see, grow, and nurture. Take some time off and cater to the inner child within.
I think it's time to stop breastfeeding Daryl.
Oh, he'll be devastated.
He's like, no,
he'll be absolutely
I can't
devastated.
Stop the 3 a.m. feeding.
I know. Okay. I know. God, it's so true. It is so true.
No, actually, anyway. I thought you were going to go a different direction with driving by the school. Jamie, I shit you not. And I know you're one of the people who do it, and I hate it. But the speed limit at the school is 25 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And that's already slow to me. And so the people who, once they approach the school, drive even slower, because I don't know if they think that a child's going to fling its body onto the street or what's going to happen. Right. Literally the other day, the person in front of me, they were going 9 miles per hour.
And you were mad.
They had their window down. I had my window down. And I was screaming, and I was behind them, and they were going so slow that the speed of sound was going to catch up. And so I'm like, you're going 9 miles per hour! That's great. So they bumped it up to 17. And I'm just like, 25 is already slow. Like children are walking past you.
Yeah, what's funny is you're right. I am one of those people. And I get this weird thing up my spine when I see children or when I'm near a school during school time. I am so afraid that some child's going to go flinging out into the street. They never do.
You think the child's going to fling its body in front of you.
I do. And it never happens, but
like they have these superpowers.
I know.
You're going to be at the high school and think a ball's going to roll in the street. And I'm just like, what high schooler do you know that plays with a ball?
Well, and that's the thing.
Just, blindlessly chases, they're practically 18-year-olds. They're just going to be like, I'm just going to run in the street without looking.
I think the thing is that when I was growing up, there was a lot of PSAs about children with their little red ball going out into the street and children chasing after it.
When I was in first grade or second grade, we actually did lose a little girl in our classroom who got hit by a car.
There you go.
That's first grade, Jamie. That's like 6.
I'm just saying. I don't know. I just think it was the way I was
at her house. It wasn't at school.
I just think it was the way that, every generation has a PSA. Like for our kids' generation, it's don't smoke because your teeth will fall out or whatever. Or vape or whatever. For my high school generation, it was drunk driving and to say no to drugs. When I was little, it was don't run out into the street with your ball because some fool is going to come and mow you down. And that was, I think, why I'm like that. It really just stuck with me as I got older.
I saw a meme the other day. God, I did post it, but I just keep thinking about it. They kept showing all these scenes from movies where people were stuck in quicksand.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And it said, when I was little, I always thought Quicksand was going to be a much bigger problem when I was older. And I'm like, I really did, actually. I thought that shit was everywhere.
I did too.
But
I really did too.
I didn't realize it just isn't. Because in movies, it made it seem like, that was like, your death if you stepped into quicksand and you never knew where it was coming.
Stephanie and I used to watch Lassie on TV.
Why? God.
What do you mean, why? It was a good show. It had a dog in it. And it was really smart.
I know.
No, it wasn't sad. So we would watch it. Granted, either me or Stephanie would cry almost every episode because we were sure the dog was going to be killed or harmed in some fashion. But
that's why I said it was sad.
He was always the hero. And Lassie, nee, 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 nee. And so there was a quicksand episode where little Tommy or Timmy or Jimmy or whatever his name was got stuck in quicksand. I'm like, this is filmed in like California. We have quicksand in California?
In Burbank.
Yeah. In the hills of Burbank, someone's backyard. I'm like, I didn't know that there was quicksand here. But you know what? Lassie got that stick and pulled his ass out. And I'm like, well, I don't have a dog who can do that. Well, I'm fucked.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, I was afraid. We used to watch Tarzan, and then somebody would
be like, Taffy. Taffy couldn't hear a damn thing. She'd look in the opposite direction, then she'd go back to like licking her cooch.
And it's like, well, or like the Tarzan one where someone would have to machete a vine to get Tarzan out. It's insane.
Yeah.
That doesn't.
Yeah.
You're right. We were very afraid of quicksand back in the day. Absolutely true. Mm-hmm. All right. I have some pseudo celeb news now because a couple of things have happened since I created this outline. The very first one, most importantly, is James Lipton died.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
The Actor Studio.
Oh, the one we did, that horrible episode we did.
It's so funny you mentioned that because I thought the same thing. I go, remember when the Actor Studio was really super popular because they had a ton of big names come out there and do the interview in front of the audience of the acting students, and then James Lipton had like a giant, like 500 cards of questions and interview questions and stuff for these people. And we thought it would be hilarious to do the same thing, and it was horrible.
I don't believe that was our idea, but...
Terrible. Oh, no, I think it was my idea. I will take full credit. I just thought it would be really, really great to interview each other so we could have the listeners find out new things about us. But we tell everybody everything anyway. We don't need to do an interview with each other. So...
Right.
Anyway, he was 93. He passed away. His wife of like 50 years or something incredible. And he was very well respected in the Broadway community and then obviously at the Actor Studio. So it was really sad. And it was funny because a lot of people are saying, I wonder what he said when he went to the pearly gates. Because, number 10 of the questions that he would ask at the end, it says, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates? And he said on Good Morning America, like in 2012 or 2010, he said, if heaven exists, I would say, you see, Jim, you were wrong, but you can come in anyway. That's what he figured. And I'm like, that makes me kind of sad. I hope it exists for him. I hope he absolutely was humbled and then sauntered in with his giant cards. I think that'd be really
I
great.
would think God would say something like, it was 50-50, Paula, but I was having a good day. I was feeling nice.
The coin was in your favor this morning.
Really?
So.
I picked tails, and I know you like tails. I always pick tails.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think I do too, actually, if I think about it.
I never pick heads. I don't know why. I just feel like it's so cliche to pick heads.
I know, right? I like
I've
tails
always
as well.
picked tails.
Tails feels like the underdog. I think that's why I pick it.
Tails always felt rebellious for some reason.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. It's like the underdog. It's really weird.
So like heads or tails? I'm like, tails. I don't know why. I just say it so, like salacious. Tails.
So did you read, now were you a big Judy Blume reader or was that after your time?
No, Olivia and I are currently reading Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Interesting that you say that. A movie is coming out about the book. They're doing a movie. Well, Judy Blume is part of it. She's overseeing it. It's not like somebody just pulled the rights and said we're doing it, because Judy Blume is still living and she's fiercely protective of her work.
I just don't know. They're gonna get some stupid bullshit, teenage actress.
Well, it's an 11-year-old, so it'll be young, real young.
I hope they at least get like a no-name independent, actress.
Of course, I think that would be the best route.
Not some like Disney character.
Well,
No.
what's funny is I remember reading that book because when I read it, it had the purple cover because now they have this new cool cover. But when I read it, it was a purple cover with a drawing of a blonde girl. And I read that book so many times when I was in 6th and 7th grade. So many times.
I'm trying to think what cover it had. I want to say it had a picture of someone on the front. Actually, the one we have now, it's all white.
Oh.
And then it's just got like blue writing with like a black streak under it. It's like very
Interesting.
generic looking.
Okay.
And so, because I was giving Olivia the example the other day of like, don't judge a book by its cover. I don't know why we were talking about that. But,
Yeah.
And I said, if you saw this book sitting at the library, I'm like, would you be interested? And she's like, no. I said, why? Because it's boring, right? You know, and she's like, yes. I said, but inside, I'm like, it's got all this amazing treasure, right? And she's like,
Amazing.
yes.
It's one of the best books I ever read. It helped me through puberty. It legit
Well, she
did.
just loves it. She thinks it's hilarious.
It
And
is
so-
hilarious. Has she walked around starting going, we must increase our best? Has she done that yet?
We have not gotten to that part yet.
Oh, it's so fun.
I think she just likes it so much because it's all her internal thoughts on
course.
paper.
It's everybody.
So-
See, what's really great too is that she will realize she's not unusual. Like all little girls think this way when they're going into puberty. It's an embarrassing time. It's an awkward time. And this book is like the Bible to puberty for girls specifically.
Right.
I love it. I'm so glad she likes it. That's exciting.
Yeah, she does. She loves it.
Really love it. So anyway, yes. So a movie's coming out, and I immediately went, God, I'm almost embarrassed, like I was when I was in 6th grade. Like I don't know if I want to watch it.
That is a little strange, though. I mean, I don't know how I feel about that.
Oh, I think it's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so Miranda Lambert's hunky police officer boyfriend or husband is no longer a police officer. He has officially retired.
He retired at the age of 29, or I don't know how old he is.
Yeah, I don't know how old he is.
He's not old. He's young.
No. But he took a leave of absence in July, and then he was moved off patrol and assigned to driving higher ups from his Midtown South precinct when the public attention became too much for cops. Okay, first of all, I think that's a total lie. I don't think that New York was obsessed with this guy being married to Miranda Lambert. For God's sake. New York is full of celebrities. They're full of huge ass celebrities. Some of the biggest celebrities in the planet live in New York. They were giving this guy shit. Give me a break. Come on.
It could have been that just because he's an everyday cop, maybe it was just so distracting that like he couldn't do a regular job.
I don't believe it. I think it was his.
He couldn't be a beat cop because that's the other thing too is he was so young. It's not like he was promoted through the ranks already.
Right.
So
I don't think it has anything to do with attention. I think it was maybe he was distracted.
I don't know. Maybe I just think that. I mean, personally, I think that if people recognized him and they knew what precinct he was in, then they're probably like, "Oh, can we get a picture? Can we, blah,
Paula,
blah."
no
He's just
way. There's no way.
I do, but that's just my opinion. But he's been doing her security detail anyway, so
So now he is in charge of her security full time, and he no longer is. He's just a retired cop now.
why would he be in charge of her security? I mean, that's the only thing I would think is just like, yeah, he's a cop from New York, but I mean, he's still really young. There's other security companies that have like combined like hundreds of years of experience that I would much rather have on my security.
Why don't you reach out to Miranda Lambert and ask her? Maybe she has a good answer for you.
Like, I don't know. What would you think? I mean,
Well, it's her husband and he needs a job. I mean, yeah, now he goes on tour with her everywhere because he's in charge of security. And he was in charge of her security when she showed up at Good Morning America in November, and that's how they met.
Yeah.
Maybe he's really good at it. I have no idea. I know nothing about this little boy. There's that. So finally, Claire Crawley, who is 38 years old, she's a hairstylist from Sacramento, is the new Bachelorette this coming season. And it's a big deal because there's been a ton of backlash on these 22 and 23-year-old girls that normally are the Bachelorette. They're too fucking young. Nobody really is interested in marriage at that age. So what are we doing? So ABC pulled from the files this woman who apparently was very popular. I didn't watch back then, but apparently she was very popular. So she was announced this morning as the new Bachelorette. Filming starts in May. I will watch, first of all, Sacramento. Second, and I was going to ask if my hairstylist knows her. I'm dying to know.
Does Neil know her?
Probably. So I'm definitely
How
going
old
to
is
ask
she?
him. 38.
Whoa.
Yeah.
She's an old one.
She is, but they're like, it's kind of the trend now because women are waiting to get married now. They're not doing it like they did back in the, old days where they get married right out of high school. They're establishing a career. They're, getting their own independence, and then they start looking for marriage. So
Did she have kids?
No, she doesn't. Apparently, she was on a couple of other renditions of she was on Bachelor in Paradise twice. And then she was on some winter one that they had that I've never heard of before. And in that one, she actually fell in love with some Frenchman. And it lasted for a couple of years and then it fell apart. So we'll see. The thing is these people who go on these shows to find love, I just don't know how serious they are about actually finding it. I don't know. It just seems a little superficial to me. But she's all, I think there's going to be a lot of boy toy talk. I think, some 24-year-old kid is going to, strike her fancy, and it'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, but I mean, that right there just tells you it like goes from serious to not serious.
Exactly. We'll see. And then, of course, I saw something today that said, is this what they meant by Bachelor Senior Edition? It made me laugh.
Well, I know you like the whole.
I do.
Not even series. I mean, they have. It's like the 90 Day Fiance. There's like 15 spinoffs.
Yes,
so
there is.
I don't even know who's getting married to who anymore. But I mean, I watched where they all sit on the couch the other day, and it was like the same 3 couples. So I'm just like,
right.
Are these people getting married or not? This has been going on for like 5 years.
Yeah, you guys have been fiancés for a very long time.
I'm like, that one lady, the blonde lady, she's just getting freaking older and older.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, I will absolutely be tuning in to see what's the what. It's a show that I absolutely love to hate. I judge it every second. It's like, you know how it is? I'll tell you how it is. I feel the same way I feel when I watch the pageant shows. When I watch Miss America or Miss USA, and I am just harshly critical of every single thread on some person's body, including the judges and the families in the crowd. That's how I feel when I watch The Bachelorette. That is exactly the feeling that I get when I watch it. So maybe that's why I like it. And trust, I know what I look like in the mirror. I am not comparing myself, but we are very judgy, and we're really fucking good at it. Now, I have never seen a full season or even an episode of The Bachelorette where it's a bunch of dudes vying for one woman. I've only seen a bunch of women vying for one dude, which I have far more judgment on. So I'm so curious how I'm going to feel about all the men. It'll be really interesting. So for me, it's an experiment. I'm looking forward to it. I will only give you the basics when absolutely necessary, so we don't bombard. But there's a gajillion Bachelor or Bachelorette podcasts that you can check on. So.
Okay.
Not you. I was talking to other people, not you.
Okay.
But people who are listening, a lot of them already know. So it's fine. It's fine.
The thing that bugs me, I mean, it doesn't bug me, but I guess it's just kind of like, there's just so much emphasis put on looks on those shows.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like it's really like that in the real world. I mean, I'm not saying that, you don't like dress to impress or anything like that. But like in the real dating world, it's okay to not be perfect, know, and you don't wear formal wear to dinner and, have your hair like get completely blown out every time you step out of the house.
Well,
and
it's a television show, and it's heavily scripted. Nobody's saying anything like, oh, this is what I look like all the time. Like, it's clear that this is like a pageant.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is just like, are there ever any like dumb girls or?
Oh my God, they're all dumb.
Okay.
In fact, the smart ones stand out, and the smart ones end up getting escorted off very early because they're not interested.
That's what I was gonna say. It's just like, I bet you the smart ones, like, they're just like, I don't like her. She's probably like a, I don't know. I don't know. Just, a man or something. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like,
the most recent, there was an attorney. She was 27, completely age appropriate, surrounded by 23-year-olds. And she did not get chosen. She got sent home because she was calling the dude on his shit. And he was like, wait a minute, you mean you don't worship me? She goes, why does it have to be like that? And he's like, bye, bitch. And everybody was like, what a fucking asshole. But she was just a woman, an actual woman, and he wanted someone who will worship the ground he walks on. And so it's like, okay, well, it's clear what you like, fine, but that's not reality. This woman was reality, and she didn't like him. She's like, I met you once, you were fine, but now it's like, you know what I mean? And that's real.
They should call it unreality TV.
Seriously, I'm with you. That would be a perfect example. Perfect.
Because if they think you walk into a bar and that's what it looks like, it's not.
Download Tinder and spend 20 minutes looking at what's available. This is not
Jamie,
The Bachelor.
I have no desire to do that whatsoever.
Right?
My profile picture would be Beaker, and I would say my headline would be like, I like to spend time with my significant other, Dr. Honeydew. And
Right. They'd be like,
I don't know. I would just put in like the bare minimums just so I could search, but
right.
there would be like no way to actually directly contact me.
Okay, enough of that. Let's go into Paula's world. What is you have to explain what a secret FB club is.
Okay, so it's a secret Facebook club.
Yeah, no, I get it, but I don't know.
Sometimes, like, I don't know how long ago it was. Someone sent me, because they know I like really inappropriate memes, like really inappropriate ones.
Yeah.
So someone had sent me one and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, that is so funny. I'm like, where do you find these? And they're just like, I belong to this meme Facebook group. And I'm like, what's it called? And they're just like, like filthy, dirty memes or something like that. And I'm just like, really? And I'm like, how do you, where is it? I want to like it. And he's like, well, you don't like it. You have to join. And I'm just like, you have to join? I went searching for it and there's like all these groups that you can like join, but it's not just memes. I'm like, it's everything.
It's just Reddit on Facebook.
Well, and then that's how I ended up joining that Parasite group, which by the way, no one posts anything on there. I'm going to undo it.
Oh yeah. You have to leave because they're all defunct now.
Oh, are they?
Oh,
is that
yeah.
what it is? I'm like, maybe occasionally I'll, something will pop up, but it's like a picture of a worm, and I'm like, this is stupid. I'm like,
Yeah, no,
I don't
those
see
people
pictures of your worms.
Those people are mentally ill. They're not normal. That's not. It's they're yeah. That it's they basically declassified
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and so all of those groups are kind of falling down. I think there's a couple that have like 30 people in them. Like they're really small. Really small.
Well, the one I belong to still has 1,400 members. But
That's small. That's actually really small.
Oh, I know. I don't get anything. I unfollowed it.
Oh.
I got tired of looking.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I wonder if it was innuendo because Facebook's been really pushing Facebook groups like hardcore. They like put a marketing campaign together saying, oh, you should join, all these great Facebook groups. I can only assume it's in an effort to keep people there and not going to Reddit, which they never will because Reddit is the ruler of all rules when it comes to shitty, gross, funny memes and forums and groups and all that stuff. It's an amazing, amazing site.
Yeah, I look at Reddit, but God, there are some really dumb people on there, Jamie.
Well, it just depends on what groups you join. I just join the groups that appeal to me, and then I just move on. I don't follow regular stuff.
Well, I follow like the medical one. So like I belong to this OBGYN group and there are some girls there that just ask some really dumb questions. And I'm just like, this is upsetting.
It may be, but I mean, think about it. I remember Mom once lectured me on this and I really took it to heart. We are so unaware how educated we are even in our own state, California. It may have a lot of problems, but we have resources and the education of things that some others do not. For example, if you go to places like, I don't know, the South, where the education level is very low, there are impoverished communities that do not have access to the stuff that we do about nutrition or sex or, mental health or just traditionally the way they live. They do not have access to the education that we had the privilege of having access to. And it's really clear.
I mean, but they still have access to the internet. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, they do, but they also have no concept. Some people literally don't know where to turn for things, and that's why they turn to places like Reddit. Anyway, okay, so now the Girl Scouts online ordering has ended, and of course, last night I get a request, hey, can I buy Girl Scout cookies online?
It's not over. It's not over.
Okay.
Okay, you know what? I will have to talk to you this about privately.
What?
I think I'm being snubbed.
Snubbed by who?
One of the moms in the Girl Scout group.
What do you mean?
I will talk to you about this privately. But there's a lot of I wouldn't say
do you think they're like trying to keep you from participating?
No, I think I'm just getting a lot of misinformation. And so I'm being kept in the dark about a lot of things. And so I'll give you an example. So all weekend we were selling Girl Scout cookies.
Right.
And I was taking a picture of myself with the cookies, making, very inappropriate comments. And about, selling cookies, like food innuendos and things like that. And I said, we'll be here from 5 to 6 at blah, 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 selling cookies, come down, da, 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 da. And so the two heads of the troop were there watching me do this. And so last night we were at the place we were selling, and the one who actually happens to be our veterinarian, I was telling her that what if we like printed our website? So, because we've run out of some cookies. And I said, well, what if we printed our website and they can just go and order? Because this was when I thought the website was closed, because I thought I was given a different date. But apparently it's still open. So we can still order online.
Okay.
She's just like, yeah, she's like, they're super strict about how you can sell cookies. I'm like, oh, really? And she's like, yeah. She's like, like we can sell them from our group page on Facebook, but from like your personal page, you're not supposed to like post where you're at and tell your friends to come down and buy and everything like that. I'm like, I don't know. She says it's just really strict about that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, so like what I've been doing for the past 3 days. And she says, yeah, kind of. Coincidentally, the day before, I got an Instagram request from a particular mom. And I'm like, isn't that convenient? I wonder if they wanted to see what I had been posting.
Did you take her?
Well, initially I did, but then after I heard this, I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
So I deleted it.
Good.
And because I'm just like, I'm not going to get involved in that shit. I'm just not going to do it, because it'll make me mad and I'll ruin it for Olivia. And I know I will.
Yeah. All right. Well, then maybe we'll put the link back up and tell everybody that you can still make some more sales.
I'm sure it's forbidden, but
No, we're doing it. Fuck that. We're doing it.
I don't care. So I didn't bring up. I'm like, well, I'm sure I'm not supposed to talk about it on my filthy podcast, but
Hey, we are not filthy. We are just open and honest.
That's why every episode has the word explicit next to it.
That's because we use swear words. If we stop using swear words, we could take the explicit off, but I refuse. I refuse to conform. No, I'm going to say whatever the hell I want.
Well, if they said anything, I'd be like, well, what were you doing listening to an explicit podcast?
Yeah. Dang it.
Mr. Do-Gooder.
So, okay. Before we go into the Ugly and Awkward Moments of the week, very quickly, the time change comes next week. I am so sad. I'm like, when are we going to get this thing passed where we just don't have to do this anymore? Twice a year, we have to deal with the changing of the hour. And the spring one is the yucky one, because you're going to wake up at, 6 in the morning. It's going to feel like 5 in the morning or something.
The spring forward, yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy. Mom and I used to get in arguments twice a year. This is the good one, Jamie. I'm like, no, it isn't. It's spring forward. And
the only good one is the fallback.
The fallback is the best. Although I don't like how dark it is, but I do love the extra hour of sleep. It's nice.
It doesn't matter to me. Winter is winter. Yeah. I don't really care what time it is. It's dark. It's dark. It's cloudy. It's cloudy. It's, it's all blah.
I hate being robbed of this hour. And I know there are some weirdos who just love it. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? I'm exhausted.
I wish I was one of those people that woke up at 5 a.m. and felt good. But the only reason why I feel good waking up at 5 a.m. is because I know I'm going to go drain my bladder. But that's about it.
If I had to get up and do stuff, like there have been times where I've had to get up at 5 in the morning to shower and be prepared to be somewhere like at the airport to get on a plane at 7.
That's different. That's like a special occasion.
It feels not in my house. And it feels horrible. And it's like I get up and I'm just sitting there. I have never been so hostile than the day that I had to get on a plane at 5 in the morning to New York. And Daryl was like, I said, don't touch me. Don't speak to me. He's like, well, you want a coffee? I'm like, I want nothing. I'm exhausted under these fluorescent lights watching people do yoga. It's ridiculous. I was outraged.
If I want something, I will get it myself.
Leave me alone.
When I start talking to you, that's when it's okay to talk. But until that happens, just pretend like I'm not here.
It's moments like that where he forgets how mean I can be because I really control it quite a bit.
You are meaner than a snake bite.
I am very, very mean. And he just doesn't see it that often. So when he sees like, oh my God.
See,
anyway, in honor of the time change and things of that, just like what you said, we're doing Ugly and Awkward Moments.
Oh God.
Sleeping edition.
Oh, God.
I know, right? So
Well, I already had one of those, but
yes, you did.
remember when I was taking that medication and I was taking naps in my car at lunch?
Oh my God.
And I set my alarm, but I must have slept through it. So 2.5 hours later, my boss called me. He's like, "Are you all right?"
Okay.
I'm like, "What time is it? Where are you?" He said, "It's 2:30." I'm like, "I'm coming."
Okay, so I have 3 for you today. Here's the first one. Interestingly, it says, I had about 2 hours to kill before a huge meeting with an important person, so I decided to take a short nap. I woke up 8 hours later. Can you even imagine?
8 hours.
8 hours. I'm like, 2 hours.
That's like a night.
He got fired.
Oh.
Well, Paula, you missed a meeting. I mean, that's a long ass time.
Wouldn't he wake up at like 3 a.m. or something?
I have no idea. And what did he do? Go home for lunch and then that's it? That's crazy.
What do you do? I mean, you God.
That's serious. That's like I partied all night and decided to go to work and went, oh, you know what? I'm just going to take a 2-hour rest.
Well, people were walking to their cars and saw someone in there, and he's pull up his chair, and like his hair's poking up in the back, and he's just kind of like, what? Where am I? Who is this?
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. That's really bad. Okay, here's the next one. I woke up with the alarm clock, hopped out of bed, showered, and headed to work. Walked into the office, cheerily greeted everyone with the usual good morning, then became aware that everyone was staring at me, including a very angry boss who demanded to know where I had been all morning. It turned out that my phone had, for no particular reason, changed the time, and it was only my genuine and completely oblivious astonishment and ability to show the time on my phone that meant that I didn't get in trouble. I was so confused. Her phone changed time zones and she showed up 3 hours late to work.
Oh.
That has happened to me, actually, where it wasn't I mean, this was before the phones. But I showed up, forgot about the time change, showed up a full hour late. And where I worked, you couldn't even be a minute late.
Yeah.
Like, it was really serious. And they're like, what happened to you? And I'm just like, but when I when I proved it, they were like, all right, well, we'll let it go. I'm so glad I got fired from that job. Oh
yeah, really.
God. It was like
was a blessing in disguise.
It really was. I am no worker bee where I have to be, chained to a time clock. It's just not for me. I'm just not that person.
I'm
I mean,
not
some people
either.
are good at it. I just can't.
No, I've never been good at it, but I've always had jobs like that.
Well, that's because they're the easiest to obtain. That's the thing. It's like we're like, okay, cool. And if you're good at it, you get paid good.
Well, the thing is that like I've always had jobs like that, but the job I've had never really requires that. And so I never understood that. I'm just like, why do I have to be here at 8 a.m.? And they're just like, well, that's when everybody else is here. I'm like, so if I show up at 8:15, it's really a deal breaker. I'm just like,
yeah,
I never understood. I'm like, plus or minus 15 minutes. What's the big deal? They're like, okay, we both know it's not going to be minus 15 minutes. I'm like, okay, I agree with that, but I'm just saying.
There has to be a line drawn in the sand, Paula.
Apparently so. And I'm just like, 15 minutes.
I know. Okay, so here's the last one, and those in the military will probably understand this far more than how serious this was, but I thought it was interesting. So I was in the Navy. Mm-hmm. I got cut away for the night to return the next day.
Oh, okay.
Only I didn't hear the last part. So I got blackout drunk at a shipmate's house, slept through till 1:00 in the afternoon.
Oh my God.
The ship went into emergency protocol for a missing person.
No.
Notified the police, hospital, and morgue. I was deemed a missing person, had my next of kin and landlord called. I turned on my phone to about 40 missed calls and messages. I finally got back to the ship. Luckily, they did not breathalyze me.
You know what? They must have been on mission and they just had stopped at port because...
Yes, that's what it sounds like.
Because if they were not like active, then it would have just been like a not big deal. They wouldn't have gone to those extreme measures.
Right.
But if they were like active, like, deployment or something like that, then they can't just have like a missing soldier somewhere in some freaking country. You know what I mean?
No.
So,
they were
God.
panicking, I'm sure.
That's weird that he was by himself, though, because most of the time you really are supposed to go in groups. So
it sounds like he wasn't very good at his job anyway.
Well, clearly.
So I don't know, but it doesn't sound like
he probably was a seaman.
Clearly, he was not surrounded by his own semen. He was surrounded by somebody else's.
Gross. He probably got herpes or something.
Ew. I don't know. Is that normal? I don't know. But he cut loose and he didn't realize he had to come back the next day, apparently. I don't know how that happens, but
Maybe he thought it was a 24-hour pass.
and it was only a 12.
Yeah. So.
Right. It's like, go out, go, get laid and come back.
But
And he
formations
did
at 6
not.
a.m., or whatever.
Right.
So,
Right.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so before we close out, in honor of James Lipton and in honor of one of our worst downloaded episodes of all time, I'm going to ask you a couple of the questions that he asked at the end.
A couple. Okay.
What is your favorite word?
Right now, sex.
Okay. What sound? I'm not going to ask you that because I already know what it is. What's your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Being a lawyer.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
What profession would you never want to do?
Never. Gosh, that's a tough one. Probably something really like demeaning. You know what? Probably no.
I would never want to give pedicures.
Yeah, I mean, I see something. Probably I don't know, be either like a podiatrist or like a proctologist or something like that.
Well, proctologist, it wouldn't bother me as much, but I can't.
You
do
wouldn't
anything.
mind working with asshole? I mean, literally working with buttholes all day.
No, because it's just an entrance into the entrails. That's really all it is.
Or
So-
you know what? I think I would really hate working at a daycare or owning a daycare. Ugh.
I would put podiatry is doctor, so that is different. I could never do the manicure pedicure thing. I could never do it in a million years. Would I want to sit in front of some 2-ton Tessie doing her or his feet? That disgusts me.
I couldn't do like an in-home daycare, like where it's at my house and I had 4 to whatever children at my house for 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. I could not.
I just envision dirty mouths, lots of
just
sticky
diapers,
jelly, and
sick boogers.
lots of apple
as Sebastian
juice.
said, the saloon door with that kid's booger.
The idea, okay, so for you, it's that. For me, the idea of touching any human being who walked in off the street in flip-flops or Ugg boots or Crocs and then sitting down and telling them, their rank spuds in my face.
But at least you could wear like kitchen gloves, couldn't you?
I would wear more than that. I would look like I was fighting the coronavirus.
I was just going to say, you're going to come in like a biohazard suit.
I'll be in all white with a helmet. And they'll be like, okay, all right, Mr. So-and-so, I'm here to do your
Right.
disgusting hairy feet.
I am your manicurist.
They'd be like, oh my God. I'd be like, no, this is what everyone
Is it
here wants to
Halloween?
do.
No, that's just how she dresses every day.
But she'll give you a damn good manicure and pedicure. No, none of that ever. If someone said, if I got in trouble and they said my punishment was to do pedicures for a year, I would say, I'll take the 0. Put me in jail. I don't want to do it.
Okay, what if they said 5 years in prison or 1 year of pedicures?
Oh, God.
The fact that you have to think about it is that bad.
I would do the pedicures as long as I could dress and wear exactly what I wanted. It would have to be like
you would
legit.
same costume, 1 year of pedicures, or 5 years of prison.
I'll take the pedicures, but I don't want to. If a judge said it
You'd
to me,
have
I'm
to,
like, what are you doing to me?
What if you had to like clip toenails? And
Oh my God, maybe 5 years. Because I could get out for good behavior, at least with the 5 years. I
in
could get out.
California, God, you'd be out in 6 months.
I'd be out in 3. Are you kidding? 11 days.
Seriously.
I'd be out.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God.
All right, Minor, you've done your 3 hours. You're out of
Thank God.
here.
Thank you. Oh God, I just feel vomitous. I know that somebody's like, oh, it's so fine. It's so, you're not the woman doing it to you. So,
I'll never forget the one time I saw a resume. I almost threw up. I worked for this, we hired people who also had done previous like medical services. And one of the bullet points was had previously clipped diabetic toenails. And I was just like,
what does that even mean?
I don't know diabetic people have special toenails, or
well, they do have. I think there's a thickening, and it's not their fault. It is what it is.
I know you have to be careful because you have to be careful with wounds on like the extremities of people with diabetes.
True,
because of the circulation issues. So I understand that there might be a particular training. I would understand that.
I'm sure of it.
But when I first read that, I was like, oh my God, because I wasn't prepared, you know?
If I was an industrious person who really wanted to get out there and create a niche for myself, I would definitely get trained in this because you probably make a fortune. But I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Like if you
specialized in,
diabetic care. Diabetic leg and foot care. I
manicure,
can see that.
pedicures.
Yeah.
What was Never
Paula.
Mind. What's the name of your salon? Sugars.
Glucose. Welcome to Glucose. Glucose. I can't even say glucose. Welcome to Glucose. How can I help you, sugar? God,
that's so bad. I think, Daryl will know if that should be cut out or not.
We're not making fun of diabetics.
No, but is it? Well, never mind.
All I know is that if people specialize in any kind of thing that requires special health, healthcare specialization, it is a niche, and man, do we need it. The medical world is so hungry for specialized care because there's just such a variety now, and you can't just go to a doctor and just get your needs met anymore. You have to assemble a team.
And so now I can put your spuds on the exam table. Clip me.
What do I do with this? They'll be like, well, interestingly, I know someone who specializes in this.
Okay, so that show I was watching, my feet, God, my feet are killing me.
Yes.
This guy, he had such bad toenail fungus that they were like, he was clipping them down, and he had to use because the nails were so thick, he had to use this little saw, it was a little circular saw. The reason why he was there is his wife made him go because he said, she won't let me go to bed unless I'm wearing socks. And so when they were in there, when he was done, everyone was waving their hands in front of their face because it was so cloudy in there.
God. Oh my God.
And the doctor's like, yeah, it's a little foggy in here.
What?
And I was just like, why isn't anybody wearing a mask?
No one was wearing any kind of coverings?
No, I would have left. I would have been like, I'm out of here.
Oh, yeah. I would have been like, listen, there's a lot of things I can handle. I'm going to excuse myself. I can't do this.
I would have texted him. I would have been like, I'm in the waiting room. I'm scared.
Oh, the wife was in there?
Yes.
Oh, hell no.
Well, they do this whole thing. They call it they don't call it, but I call it the big reveal. They make the doctor take off their shoes and socks. And so, because ordinarily, I'm sure they'd walk in there and they'd already be barefooted.
Sure.
But they're just like, well, let's see what we've got here. So it walks to show the doctor take off their tennis shoes, and they peel their socks down. And usually there's flakes flying off and things like that, And then all of a sudden they get to the toes, and it goes a little bit slower, and then it's just like, da-da-da, and then it's like, duh, and then you see these whatever. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like the Thriller video. She's like,
oh my God.
Well, the fact that it was so dusty in there that it created a cloud, I was just like, that's a lot of that's fungus dust. Get out!
That's a lot of bacteria floating around amongst one's lungs.
Even when you get your nails done, they flip that switch and you hear the
they blow it. They suck it out.
There's a fan or a suction somewhere.
Oh my God! I can't. Okay, I don't know what kind of doctor this is. Is his first name Doctor?
His first name. Well, he's really cute, by the way, but
of course.
I don't know what he is.
God,
I'm just like, how can God? He's gonna come up with some kind of weird chest cancer when he's old, kind of like
some kind of fungal
podiatrema, cancer
buried deep in his lungs because of all the inhalation
of fungal dust. If you've suffered from podiatrema because you were a podiatrist, please call 444-4444.
Again,
you
totally
could be owed compensation.
These things are necessary in life. I mean, if this guy didn't have a podiatrist, what would he do? He'd be single with his gross toes. At least now it can be rectified. But, here's the deal. And it seems predominantly men that just allow things to just rot on their bodies before they'll ever consider a doctor looking at it. I don't understand.
Yeah, unless they get
understand.
an ingrown hair on their penis, they're like, oh my God!
I think I have warts. What is this? Is cancer? It's like,
no, it's
Jesus.
an ingrown hair from when you tried to shave the other day, you idiots.
When you're trying to manscape
With a
trying
one
to be like one of
blade,
the cool.
because you're a cheap bastard, idiot.
It's like, seriously.
You use the brown Bic with a one blade that you got at the dollar store because you thought all of a sudden, you watched porn last night. And you're like, hey, I think I could look like that. My dick looks so much bigger.
My dick looks a lot bigger when there's no hair around it.
Yeah, just wait until this afternoon when you're covered in acne.
Those are called razor bumps. Get used to it.
He's like, oh, it's just so bad. It hurts.
Well,
what can I do?
It's like
nothing.
It's like, well, I googled my symptoms, and it seems that I either have a small cancer mole or it's venereal disease.
I think you gave me HPV. I'm like, oh, I did.
Oh, I love that. And I'm like, really? Fine, let me
Remember
look.
that guy
that's
you
it.
dated 5 years ago? I think you gave me HPV.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, it was me. Sure.
It's like if I saw an ingrown hair with a white head on someone's ball sack, I'd be like, please let me do that.
I'd be like, hold on, let me take a look. Oh, ouch,
please.
it hurt. Oh, look, it's gone.
Let me get that needle. Let me lance that
Chemotherapy
thing.
between my thumbs.
Oh my God. Probably the most satisfying pop of my life.
Seriously.
Anyway, all right. Well, that's all I have for today.
The tool. I'm like, I got your tools right here.
I know. Okay, well, that's all I have for today.
Yes, I believe that's all I have. I have a little spit thing on my filter. Sorry.
Oh, disgusting.
I was laughing too hard and talking
I know.
a lot.
It was very funny.
Well, that's it for us today. Have a fabulous rest of your week. We will see you on Sunday. And I guess that's all. Bye.
Thanks for listening and sharing the show. See you next time on The Ugly Truth.